There was a rainstorm. We were very, very worried, but you know, it's meant to be a good day today, meant to be. So thank you all so much for coming. Let's give a, let's give a huge round of applause for Linda Brown for the incredible music starting off today. All right, back row. Can you hear me? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down, like I'm actually clear, I'm good. Okay, cool. Excellent. So, my name is Alicia Fisher. I'm the Community Services Manager here at Women's Resources. I'm also the newest member of Women's Resources, so I think it's very fitting that I'm doing the MC as the newest member, introducing the newest building of Women's Resources. So, you know, off to a great start. Loving it. So, as we're here on with the newest building of Women's Resources for Second Stage Housing, it's really important to recognize kind of where we are. You know, this building was really built from the grassroots movements of wanting to support women who are experiencing abuse, and I think it's just so important that we continue as a community to rally around those, continue to support them, and to make amends and be thankful for the land that we are currently situated on with the Mississauga lands and the traditional Williams treaties. It's so important to be grateful for these opportunities, the teachings and the learnings that we receive and hear from Indigenous communities for thousands of years. And I think it's only fitting that the open house here is starting just before Indigenous History Month. So it's important that we reflect and adhere to the connections, to the interconnectivity with all aspects of one's being, including our connection with the natural world. As allies, it's really a continuous process. It's not a designation, and it's not something that we earn or hold forever. It's not a label that we give ourselves practicing allyship. It's a responsibility to acknowledge and understand Indigenous history and the current experiences of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and to be accountable for the oppressions that they faced and continue to face. So we really here at Women's Resources commit our community to hold ourselves accountable to the continuous work of decolonization and to really ensure that we do not perpetuate the harms of colonization and in fact begin to repair them. With this, it's with Women's Resources, we particularly want to acknowledge the role of Indigenous women. They really have provided us a lot of knowledge about the sacred connection with Mother Earth and with water. And I think it's so incredibly fitting that this place right here on Logie Street is right across from the beautiful river and a beautiful mound of land that we are on. And we really recognize and honor that our waterways, Mother Earth, and all women are really viewed as sacred life givers and supporters who bring many gifts of strength, wisdom, influence, autonomy, and power. And we are really thankful for this opportunity to honor women by providing a home in which will provide peace and safety and restore their spirit and integrity. So, let's get introducing some of the amazing speakers and dignitaries that we have here today. And we're going to start off. I want to hear a really loud round of applause for our mayor, Doug Emsley.
Thank you very much. This is a really nice day and a really great event that we're celebrating today. First, I'd like to acknowledge Councillor Pat Warren is with us this afternoon, and our newly minted Chief of Police, Kirk Robertson, is here as well. Thank you. So it's a pleasure to join you today as you celebrate the progress of your second stage housing project here on Logie Street. It's wonderful to see all the hard work and effort put in over the several years come to fruition. This home will be an invaluable resource and safe haven for many women in our community for years to come. As an organization, Women's Resource is vital to the well-being of women and children in Kawartha Lakes. Notably, it offers numerous supports to those who are escaping tumultuous and often violent relationships and living situations. From crisis support and immediate shelter to counseling services, outreach programs, and short-term housing. Women's Resource provides a lifeline, a way out, and a way forward for those who need help. While it's unfortunate that such services are necessary, our community is lucky to have you. And your team, including many volunteers, I'm sure, who are here today, who strive to create these safe and welcoming spaces for people at a most vulnerable time. While I do not wish to speak for the women and children who benefit from this housing project, I imagine there will be a sense of hope and relief that might come from knowing there is one more place of refuge for them to start and start a new chapter and feel safe. You truly are giving them a gift of fresh beginning and a solid foundation to build on. The testimonials from recipients of your services attest to the immeasurable impact that those services provide. On behalf of myself, Council, and the City of Kawartha Lakes, I wish to thank you for all the good work that you do and congratulate you on the success of this project. May it serve you and its residents well. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming today.
Thank you so much, Doug. Next, we're going to be introducing Andrew Hodson, representative from MP Jamie Schmale's office. So come on up. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. So Jamie's working in Ottawa actually this afternoon, while I'm here in beautiful Lindsay, this beautiful day, this beautiful thing. So I got the good job today for sure. So yeah, he's unable to be here in person, so I bring his regrets, but honestly, more than that, I would say I bring his sincere congratulations and appreciation for what's happening here today. I think the fact that this agency was one of only 17 applicants to be selected in the first round for funding, I think it speaks for itself. And I think what it speaks to, honestly, is leadership and expertise, frankly, in this domain, in the area of second stage housing that's being brought to bear. So I don't think this will really be a surprise to anyone who's friendly to this agency. We talk about Amy's in Fenelon, right? We're talking almost 30 years of second stage housing for women and children in our area. And honestly, to me, not only is this funding is obviously it's a key element in the infrastructure and operation of the project, but it actually validates the very philosophy of second stage housing. And for me, that would be the reality that once a crisis has been stabilized, the journey isn't over. And often, in many cases, the work is just beginning. So to Lori and the administrative staff, who visioned and engineered this project, we congratulate you. And to the frontline staff and the board members, the volunteers, hundreds of volunteers, literally, who will be putting all this into motion. As someone, I've worked adjacent to so many of you for years in a previous career, so I can say firsthand that this project is in absolutely the most capable hands imaginable, and I mean that from the heart. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Clara Euler from the Ontario Trilliums Foundation to come speak about their contribution to the accessibility of our space. So welcome.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me here today. My name is Clara Euler and I'm a member of the Ontario Trillium Foundation's local grant review team. It's been a pleasure to work with your organization and to see what a $150,000 capital grant that you received back in 2022 was able to accomplish. For anyone unfamiliar with OTF, we're an agency of the Government of Ontario and one of Canada's leading granting foundations. Since 1982, OTF has been focused on helping to build healthy and vibrant communities. Thanks to the funds and support we received from the Ontario government, last year, OTF was able to award over 1,000 grants to nonprofit groups just like yours across the province. In 2022, your organization put together a compelling application. And I'll tell you, I read a lot of them, so this was a really compelling application for how a capital grant would help you make second stage housing more accessible to women and children of all abilities. We're pleased that these funds have helped with installing an elevator, automated door openers, and a ramp. We are pleased to play a very small part in the tremendous work that's been done by the team of the Women's Resources and the community. As I said before, you presented us with a compelling application, and I want to thank you for inviting me here today to see the results and to hear the vital work you continue to do in the community for women and children. So on behalf of Ontario Trillium Foundation staff and all of our volunteers, congratulations and thank you for having me.
Amazing, thank you so much. So, before we hear the real guest of honor here, just to give you an overview of what's going to happen following the last two speeches that we're going to hear, we will be doing a tour here of our second stage housing, which we're all going to be able to walk through. You're going to be signing a guest book as you head in. Downstairs, there's going to be some food and refreshments and some washrooms, so if you are looking for that, it'll be downstairs. When you do go inside, take a look at the balconies, but do not go on them. They are just for viewing right now. So, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of Women's Resources, Lori Watson.
And I ordered all those trucks especially for today. So hopefully you can hear me. You know, a project of this scope doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time. It takes good planning. It takes dedication. It takes commitment. And it certainly takes teamwork. And we have had an amazing team from start to finish on this project. So I get the honor of thanking all the people that have been involved. And so I'll try not to keep you too long, but I certainly don't want to miss anyone who deserves the recognition that they worked so hard for. So Women's Resources operated Amy's second stage housing in Fenelon Falls, and we opened that program in 1993. And in 2021, after talking to residents about what their needs were, we decided to sell the building because it was just not close enough to the services they needed. There was no rural transportation system, and of course, many of our women don't have vehicles. So I approached the city of Kawartha Lakes Housing because we knew that they were interested in putting up social housing in the area. And they agreed to buy the building office. And so they bought the building, so that was a win-win. And a couple of our residents of Amy's were able to stay in that building in permanent housing. Then in June of 2021, so 6 months later, we purchased Logie Street. And it was pretty scary at the time. I think our board would agree. And we knew the pressure was on, and quite honestly, I had no idea what I'd done or where the money was coming from. We knew we'd have to have a capital campaign, but had no idea about the other funding. As fate would have it, we hired Tim Welsh from Tim Welsh Consulting, and he advised that there was a national co-investment funding available from CMHC. But the timelines were really tight. We had to move fast. So we called Glenn Wilcox, and architect, and his team, and very quickly they were able to pull together a design for us. And the former mayor, Andy Letham, at the time, was instrumental in actually fast-tracking our process so that we could get site plan approval in time to submit the funding application to CMHC. As Andrew said, there were only 17 proposals approved in round one, and we were one of them because we were shovel-ready with the building. We are so thankful to CMHC for providing $1.47 million in funding to get this project up and running, and an additional $45,000 a year for this next 6 years for project property management and maintenance. And that's a good thing, because we have 3 acres here, and already it's $1,200 a month to cut the grass. So we're very happy for that. With the sale of Women's Resources and some reserve funds, Women's Resources has contributed $1.8 million to the project. And our capital campaign raised an additional $400,000. And as you've heard, the Trillium Foundation came on board with $150,000 in funding to support our accessibility goals. So we then tendered for construction, and the successful bidder was Carbon Contracting, Ian Carson and Don Dart. And we have a history of working with those folks. But this was on the heels of COVID, and the construction industry was still being impacted. It was very difficult to find some of the trades to have staff, and so our project got a little bit delayed. But I think when you see the quality of work here today, you know, all of that is forgotten, and we're so happy to be able to work with them and achieve this. You know, it doesn't matter that it was a couple of months late, we're here today. I'm proud of it. So the hands-on project team for this project consisted of Tim Welsh and his assistant Nuri Chang, Glenn Wilcox, Don Dart, myself, Diana Ingram as Finance Director, Carolyn Fox as Fund Development Director, and Sharon Benoit, Property and Facilities Manager. Sharon, Glenn, Don, and I met every 2 weeks during the project. And I have the most gorgeous pair of raspberry-colored construction boots. They do clash with my red construction hat that I had to get Dawn to show me how to wear, but it's all good. Carolyn Fox led our capital campaign committee, and Diana Ingram kept us on budget and kept all the reporting in order with the Trillium Foundation. So to all of those people, I extend my most sincere and heartfelt thanks. We truly could not have achieved this without you. But I need to give a very special thank you to the person who was a consistent lead through this whole project, and that is Sharon Benoit, our Property and Facilities Manager. This is just, I've worked with Sharon for 29 years now, I guess, and she's amazing. I've never met anyone like her, and she knows a little bit about everything. She knows mechanical, she knows electrical, she knows HVAC systems, she knows security and phone lines and computer systems and how they all talk to each other. She's a master at organizing keys. And she's developed over the years very good working relationships with our trades. So folks like Castle Communication, Gravity Plumbing, Dyson, Cogeco, Protect, Kawartha Closet, Kawartha North Property Maintenance, just to name a few. If we need something done, Sharon can get it done by picking up the phone. She is also a great shopper. And as you will see, as you go through the units, she and Penny Chatson, who's our residential services manager, with the help of Carolyn Lovelace from The Brick, furnish the units beautifully. They really do. They're just amazing. Last week, 3 weeks ago, this place was a disaster. And there was no garden, there was no lawn, there was all kinds of stuff inside. Last week, Sharon was literally throwing construction stuff out the door. You're done, go away, we don't want you here, that's it. And we really didn't know if it would all come together, but it did. And again, Sharon pulled together a wonderful team. Bernard Robia, Bill Topping, Penny Chatson, Kira Pagnello, Doreen Bakintis, Chantel Palpello, and all the volunteers who came and assisted at all the last minute touches of setting up the program. So Sharon, I just can never thank you enough for all the work you've given to Women's Resources over the years, but in particularly this project, because it truly reflects your integrity, your compassion, your love for the women we serve, and it's a beautiful, beautiful building thanks to you. As you tour the building today, you'll notice some very cute plaques. The theme for our capital campaign was Open the Door. And Carolyn Fox found this wonderful man, Dan Kitchen, who does all kinds of woodworking, and he created little doors with recognition plaques on them. So as you go through, you'll see plaques on the bedroom or the unit walls, the common spaces, etc. So pay attention to those, because those folks are our major sponsors. But I'd like to acknowledge them verbally today. So we have Shelters Canada, Kathy and Peter Anderson, Lana Van Netten, Doug and Carol Brenner, Ward's Lawyers, 100 men of Kawartha Lakes. Big shout out to them. Not saying the other group, but big shout out to them. 156 now, okay. I think we got 153, but it was the men that came to our aid, so thank you very much. Kinsman Club of Lindsay, the Vandenberg family, Otto and Marie Pick Charitable Foundation, Anderson Hillier Foundation, RBC Royal Bank of Canada, Lindsay, the TD Bank, Squires Built Homes, Kate Lau's Ecuador Trek for Shelter with Royal LePage, Gail Westcott, and the Independent Order of Foresters. And I'm hoping I'm not missing anybody. In addition to our funders and major donors and sponsors, many people have stepped forward with this project in any way they can. There was a Yuck Yucks night a couple of weeks ago in Fenelon Falls, raised $500 to support the program. Kim Thompson from Greenbank Nurseries and former board chair for Women's Resources created this beautiful garden. We called Kim last week and said, yikes, we need a garden, and we need it by next Thursday. And Kim said, no problem, designed it, got her crew out here on Saturday. They brought the soil, they brought the mulch, they brought the plants, the trees, got it all done. And then Kim said, this is my gift to you at Women's Resources. So forever, this will be known as Kim's Garden. And Peggy Taylor, another board member of ours. She's our treasurer, actually, so speak very nicely to her when you see her. But Penny's granddaughter, Quinn, lost a son, 10 weeks of age, to a tragic and senseless act. In memory of Chase, the family have donated 2 lovely pieces to the Children's Outdoor Play Area, which you will see when you go out the unit 5 and 6. You'll see them in the backyard there. One is a lovely little children's bench, and the other is a sandbox made in the shape of a ship. Quinn, please know that Chase will be watching over the children here, and his spirit will live on. Thank you so much to the Taylor family. And last, I bet you're glad about that, but certainly not least, and probably should have been the first, I would like to thank the Board of Directors of Women's Resources. As I said, this was a very scary and daunting task. We weren't sure how we were going to make it work. But I thank the board most sincerely for following the vision, for their leadership, and for believing in me and our management team. Just look what we have done. Now I'd like to introduce Jane Chapman, board chair, who, by the way, spent her winter making Afghans for each of the units. Of course, color coordinated. She had to connect with Sharon about that. Jane will say a few words, and then Sharon Benoit, myself, and Jane will cut the ribbon, and then we'll begin the tours.
Before Jane starts, I just wanted to say one thing.
Lori said it might be a few words, might not. because they saved the emotional part for me. You know, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of emotions today, and of course at the end of Lori's I can already feel tears, so please bear with me. And welcome everybody. Thank you for coming and celebrating with us. And wow, doesn't it look amazing? We are so fortunate to have an organization like Women's Resources in Kawartha Lakes, and to have the community and government support that we receive. Part of my career took me across Canada delivering domestic violence training. And I have to tell you, there's a lot of areas in Ontario, especially rural, that do not have any services. So we are so fortunate that we can offer this to the abused women and their children in our area. And this next stage, housing, has taken our services to another level. I have so much praise for the staff and managers that have gone above and beyond their daily responsibilities to make this housing happen. I thank each one of you. There is one person, though, that has been the driving force, and it could not have happened without her. We didn't have a project manager. It became another responsibility for our executive director to add to her already heavy workload. Our executive director, Lori Watson, has put her heart and soul into what you see today, and this has been her dream. As board chair, I have been honored to work with such a professional woman who has the dedication and passion that Lori has for women, the women we serve, and also her staff, plus who is a strong advocate and champion tall women. This is why I'm not surprised when one of the managers came to me with a suggestion from herself and others. They wanted to suggest that this transitional housing be named after Lori. I took it to the board and they voted unanimously on the suggestion. Now I'd like to share with you just a part of that email I received. I could go on about Lori for hours, but I think it means much more to hear from staff. In November, Lori will be celebrating her 29th year as the Executive Director of Women's Resources. This is a phenomenal term for an Executive Director of a nonprofit social services agency. Lori has been the foundation of Women's Resources, serving terms as a board member prior to her Executive Director position commencing in 1995. I cannot praise Lori enough for her solid, confident, and competent leadership, as I know the success of the agency through progression and growth would not have been possible without her unwavering leadership. It is because of Lori's open mind, dedication to services for women and their children, along with her willingness to change, that our agency has developed into a multi-program service for abused women and their children. She has been a mentor for her staff and a true respected icon in our community. So I am so thrilled today, Lori, to name this housing, I'm going to have to cry before I get it out, I'm sure, Lori's Place, after you. Now let's get to the ribbon cutting and see Lori's Place. Oh, do you want? Okay, here we go. And the door is open for tourists.
Sinking backwards.
We do have a guest.
Wasn't awesome.